Hi, my name is Tana Smith. I'm Director of Human Resources in Hopewell Valley Regional School District. We've seen so many breakthroughs with students who maybe were kind of afraid to start talking to a counselor, therapist, teacher, but in those situations when the dog's present, they start petting the dog and then all of a sudden they're able to express themselves differently. They have a different outlook too. That's something that we see. I think it brings a little bit of hope to the students and they're able to look at situations a little differently and to start that process of moving through whatever the challenge might be.
Hi, I'm Danielle De Palma. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and I work in a college on Staten Island. I do counseling with college students. One of the things that we often use with clients is mindfulness skills. And those are skills that help clients be in the present moment. So dogs actually help and can be used in those therapeutic interventions.
My name is Jenny Walters, and I am a school counselor as well as a board certified licensed professional counselor. AIR's programs for schools, such as Coming Up for Air for the middle and high school students, as well as the Exploring Emotions Through the Eyes of Dogs program for the younger students, are two amazing programs that get kids talking about the importance of mental health, as well as being able to find help when they need it from the trusted adults in their world. I cannot recommend this program highly enough as a school counselor, as a licensed mental health clinician, and as a mom.
Hi, I'm Tricia Baker from Attitudes in Reverse. I'm the program director for the AIR Dogs Paws for Minds Therapy Dog program.
My name is Pete Smith, and I'm the principal of Leonardo Grade School in Middletown, New Jersey. And we're very fortunate to be conducting an 8-dog pilot. We'll actually have 8 dogs in 8 different buildings. So if in the morning, as everyone's walking in, they see that dog, if it could bring a smile to everyone's face, even if they don't have direct interaction with the dog, to know that the dog is going to be part of our staff per se, I think that is going to increase the whole culture of the school.
This is Suzanne Keller. I am the supervisor for the Source, which is our school-based youth service program at Red Bank Regional High School. Just having Riley here makes the students feel more like they're part of a family. I hear them say all the time, this school is so great, they even have a dog.
They have just a certain energy, it's very calming.
My name is Tom Smith. I am currently the superintendent of the Pennsbury School District. Prior to that, I was the superintendent of the Hopewell Valley Regional School District, where we had a very strong partnership with Attitudes in Reverse. And in that program, we brought in a number of therapy dogs into our school district. And then we did something that was pretty unique, where we had a number of administrators train their own dogs to bring into our schools.
Steve Wilfing. I'm the principal at Stony Brook Elementary School, and this is Rosie. Every time that Rosie has come into the building, or any of the other therapy dogs come into the building, just to see the faces of the students light up, it's great to see that. She's everybody's best friend.
Definitely can be preventative, as well as we can use it in interventions with students who have actually been diagnosed with anxiety and depressive disorders. But it also can be used just to increase awareness of mental health issues and also to destigmatize mental illness as well as suicide.
I do believe it's preventative, because I think if students see the dogs on site, I think it does do a couple of things. One is, I think it shows that the district cares, or the school cares, or the principal cares, and trying different things to help support our students. Where maybe a student is feeling anxious and really isn't starting to talk to anybody about it, just going over and just interacting with the dog. Maybe that's a connection to their home. Maybe the dog looks like their own dog at home, is really helpful. And then on the other side, when they do have maybe some issues with anxiety or something like that, I think the dogs, again, provide that level of support to the students, that they can go pet the dog a little bit and then sit down and talk to a counselor. We've had dogs in our counseling office for a while now, and it's amazing that the students gravitate right to the dog, pet him for a little bit, and then they'll go in to talk to their counselor. It's almost like allowing them to decompress a little bit before they go in to speak to an adult.
Teenagers are very anxious, and being able to have that immediacy of relief when they are feeling anxious just with the dog in the room is tremendous. How does it make you feel when you're stressed out with something going on at school and you run into a dog in the building?
It just feels so satisfying.
Really comforting to have a dog right here.
Strong component of that coming up for AIR program is the inclusion of therapy dogs. Many of our students were grieving the loss of the student who had died by suicide. Many of our students were grieving their own losses that maybe we were not even aware of. The dogs really just allowed people to grieve and to talk about their feelings in a safe environment. The dogs just added a level of comfort. Petting the dogs just felt good for our students and for our teachers.
The program has just grown. It was a grassroots program. We started talking to young people about mental health, and we started going places. And not everybody wanted to talk about mental wellness or suicide prevention, but I would always have my little dog Mickey with me. And what we found was people didn't want to talk about mental health, but they would come up and they would talk about your dog. And 9 out of 10 people would then share their own story.
And then we lost a child to suicide at our high school and had to bring the dogs in to help children who are grieving, staff members who are grieving.
We had a group of students who were very close to this one student who had taken her own life. And although they were sitting together in one of our media centers, they weren't really talking to anybody. We had a school psychologist, a social worker, a traumatic loss expert, and they weren't interacting among themselves, and they weren't interacting with any adult.
And my superintendent at the time, Tom Smith, saw the dogs working the way they were intended to work and felt like we needed to be a therapy dog district.
And then about a half hour later, the therapy dogs came into the room, and the therapy dogs, through some divine intervention, went right to those students and started to interact with that group of students. And it was really amazing to see not only the impact that the dogs had on the students, but then the students started opening up through the dogs and talking not only to each other, but also talking to the adults. So it was an amazing experience for me to witness. From that point on, I saw the power of the therapy dogs and the power that they could have in a school, and we started building out our program from there.
There's actually research, it's evidence-based, that when people look at a dog, releases oxytocin, which is the relationship hormone.
There are so many ways that dogs have benefited students. I think for me personally, one of the most powerful opportunities of having a dog in the building was returning to school last year in the middle of a pandemic. School looked so different for all of our students. As they came off the bus, they were masked, they had to have their temperatures checked, they were socially distanced. School looked different, but to see their faces behind the masks as they got off the bus, meeting Lucy right there, was just so rewarding. She just set the tone for a positive, warm environment despite the craziness around us.
And then when you pet a dog, it releases serotonin and dopamine, which are the de-stressing brain chemicals. Also, when you pet a dog, it lowers your cortisol level, which is your stress hormone. So there's so many positive responses that happen when you interact with the dog.
I mean, everybody smiles when they see a dog, whether you have one or you don't, or maybe even if you don't like them or you don't think you like them. When you see a dog, it brings a smile on people's face.
You know, I've been working with students for a long time. I've been in this field for almost 20 years now. And often, you know, we do different therapies as well as recommend in certain circumstances medication, which affects the chemicals in your brain. So clients can take medication, but another way to do it more naturally is just to pet a dog and have a dog in the sessions. And it actually does similar things to what an antidepressant medication or anti-anxiety medication would do. So it increases, like I said, serotonin, dopamine, and there's actually medications that clients can take that do the same thing, but a lot of clients, understandably so, don't want to take medication. So dogs do that naturally, which is great.
Dogs can help you get like a clear head and find the solution a lot of the time.
You know, Dr. Smith, as former superintendent, would have his at the board meeting. We would spend many, at times of a tense meeting in the middle of a pandemic where he would have his dog Jojo present to just help us all cope. I would have teachers come to me and say, when's the next time Lucy's going to be here? I need a Lucy hug. I need to pet Lucy. So she definitely brings a positive energy and a warm, inviting culture to the building.
And one of the teachers in particular was deathly afraid of dogs. Since she was a child, she was so afraid of dogs. And for some reason, he went right over to her and sat next to her. And over time, she was able to pet him. Riley has successfully turned her fear into a friendship.
And Mickey actually received an award for the work that he was doing with students with mental health. And when we received his award, everybody would come up to me and say, you know, my dog helped me, my dog helped me. And that really was the inspiration for starting the therapy dog program.
Absolutely recommend the AIR organization to other people, school district.
I think our district is a much happier place, a different place, because we have our own army of AIR dogs here that are trained in part of our school district.
I was so intrigued by the program, and I love the idea of animals helping kids in a therapeutic way. I think there's so much to that.
So I think that the AIR therapy program is just amazing and so positive for every community, particularly because it increases mental health awareness and it also destigmatizes mental illness as well as suicide.
I'm so happy that they're part of our district, they're working with us. We have staff members in each building where they are available to bring in their pups to really help during stressful situations for our students.
The AIR Dogs Therapy Program is a very special program. We work with teams in the schools. We focus on safety for students as well as staff.
I had never really considered working with people who perhaps need devices to help them with mobility. And so the use of the wheelchairs and canes and crutches and those kinds of things would have never really entered into my thought process as something that would need to be done. So that was certainly something that wouldn't be in a typical dog class.
The benefits that the dog can do for all of the children, even the ones who are afraid, because they don't have to touch the dog. The dog can just be in the classroom, far outweighs any of the challenges that could arise.
I know that we have a teacher in our building who is highly allergic and she has a carpeted floor. Lucy never goes anywhere near that room, so I can respect her allergy.
Some people are not dog people, and I don't want to force Hopkins on anybody. If they're afraid of dogs or maybe they just don't like dogs.
All of the challenges that arise are things that can be worked around, things that can be figured out ahead of time. And a solution can be drawn before the dog even enters the classroom.
And we are recognized by the American Kennel Club, and we are honored to be a part of that. We actually require all of our dogs to be American Kennel Club Canine Good Citizens. They have to obtain that title. We also work with them so they receive a trick title and then also their therapy certifications.
Tricia Baker, the founder of AIR Dogs, put Bruno right into shape, and he's doing what he's intended to do, which is spread love.
And the amazing thing for me is when they started to do things without the treats. You start out with the food, and they start to do it just because they want the food, and then eventually it just becomes second nature to them, and they don't need the food to do it anymore.
Call your dogs.
One of the first things we worked on was walking with eye contact.
Good, very nice, good.
Riley and I are each other's therapy people. I know if he's getting a little stressed out, and he knows when I'm getting stressed out or if I'm upset. So our relationship is rock solid. And I really credit the training with AIR Dogs for that.
I think part of the advantage is it's a connection. You have your dog at home, and then you leave your dog and you go to work. With your dog's a therapy dog, you bring your dog to work with you every day. It strengthens that bond between you and your dog. And also you can help other people through your pet. So it strengthens your bond with your dog, and it strengthens your bond with other people too.
The chance for them to read to a dog, it's not intimidating. There's no threat. The dog sort of levels the playing field. The dog doesn't know if you're the smartest one in the class, if you're the most popular. The dog is just the dog who loves being around you. So to me, that's a very big benefit.
Students were able to listen to a story, look at beautiful pictures and illustrations of dogs expressing emotions in different ways. And they were able to actually learn some new emotions. Lots of times at the elementary level, kids experience things and they don't know how to articulate those feelings. So Tricia sat with students and talked with them about how dogs express being embarrassed or ashamed or afraid, and use dogs as a very safe way to talk about those big topics and those big feelings.
It started in July, and we met weekly right up until school shut down for the pandemic. Tricia was great in providing modifications for Lucy. So for example, when all the dogs had to sit, Lulu has old hips, she could stand. So making those subtle adjustments for allowing her to find success in her training.
When I met Trisha Baker, she, sort of explained all the benefits. She showed me all the programs that she has. And I just thought it was amazing. And I knew from that point that I wanted to be a part of this.
And I can speak directly to the fact that I have seen and witnessed how our therapy dogs help students and staff alike when they're dealing with grief to break down those walls and to really start the healing process.
So I recently left the Hopewell Valley Regional School District, and I'm transitioning into a new district. And one of the first things I thought in my transition is, how can I integrate the AIR therapy dog program into my new district? We are dedicated to doing it, and I can't wait for this program to take hold in my new district also.
No matter what age student we are talking to, I always see a tremendous response to the dogs. So there's just so much positivity when the dogs come in, and it makes my heart feel good to know that our little dogs can make so many people feel so much better.
Effective, meaningful, and life-saving.